Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about helping a friend move to your city. How would you make them familiar with your city, and what places would you like to take them to visit? And what places you suggest them to eat at, and so on and so forth. I am sure that you would like the conversation. My request, do watch the entire episode to make the most out of it. So without any further ado, let's get started.
So the topic for today is helping a friend move. In case the topic gets boring for you at any given point, you can just let me know. I'll change the topic.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, perfect. Right. So the topic basically is about a situation that has been given to us. The situation is that a friend of yours is shifting to your city, and he or she is unaware of everything around the city. Right. So first of all, how would you make them familiar with your city, and what places would you take them to visit? You can talk about your hometown or Delhi, whatever you're more comfortable.
Okay. So I think if you know that if the friend is from India, then I think he must be aware of the metropolitan cities, right? So I would talk about Delhi itself, and yeah, I would certainly like to take him to the different places all around Delhi. Uh, Basically, my favorite places would be Akshardham Temple. And then some of the monumental, places like Qutub Minar or say Lal Killa, and then lotus temples, along with a few other places which are very, very, popular in Delhi. So, just to make him familiar, because I'm sure that, the friend would also enjoy visiting those places. And if he or she has never been to Delhi, so you must have studied, the culture of India and the places around uh, Delhi. So once I'll take him there, or perhaps I'll take her there. So certainly, I think if I'll take her to these places, I'm sure she would or he would enjoy Delhi.
Yeah,
Yes.
fair enough. Right. Right. What places would you suggest him or her to eat at? From restaurants to street food joints or to any of the food parlors, basically. Any place. What places would you suggest them to eat at? Like, you can mention your favorite places where you get good food or some of the new ones.
There could be a number of places if I talk about. One of my favorite places here in Delhi, if I talk about the restaurants, it'll be Nazir Foods for sure because the foods are very tasty. And then there could be any sort of restaurants. That's not coming to my mind, but yes, it could be any places. And then beside that, you have your different applications. I'll ask him to take a look and go through the food he or she likes, right? And I'll take him through this, and I can certainly ask I can place an order and get these their favorite foods delivered. So instead of going to the restaurants, sitting perhaps for a few hours, it'll be easier, to order the food and get this delivered. So I think that'll be more convenient, I suppose. Even if that, even the friend insists to go around and check out places and restaurants, then I can take it to perhaps a number of restaurants out there. So that can be I think I can take him to those restaurants as well. But yes. Okay, so since you were also from Delhi, why don't you? Because it should be two-way communication, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so it's not that I'll keep on talking, keep on asking questions. So that will be something monotonous, or perhaps it'll be a kind of session wherein it'll be just
Right.
questions and answer sessions. No. So what I want is let's have the kind of conversation wherein both speak, right? So I'd like to hear from you because you are also from Delhi, and you must have explored a number of places here in Delhi. So what would be your take? Just in case the friends or relatives who visit, Delhi, and
Right.
what would be your suggestions?
I think the food I have, as you said, there are n number of places they can go to, but there are few places that are very famous. And I think somebody who's coming from out of town and somebody who's going to be living here, they might want a place that they would be sort of ordering from or eating at regularly. So I would want to suggest them something that's cheap and good. So in that case, I might refer to them to a lot of places. For example, um, Central Delhi. So in Central Delhi, CP is very famous. There's a lot of foods around CP. Not exactly the main part of CP, but when you go to Janpat, there are a lot of small restaurants. They are not very good family restaurants or nothing fancy about them, but they have good and cheap food that they can get from. And then there is Chandni Chowk. So in Chandni Chowk, you get a lot of street food, I think, which is great. And Delhi is pretty much famous for that kind of street food. So one of the places is called, I think, Parathe Wali Gali, which is very famous for a shop that has been there for, I
Oh,
think,
yes.
40 years. So that's one of the very famous shops out here. Then apart from them, if they're somebody who are interested in eating um, non-veg food, then I would definitely tell them to go to Old Delhi once at least, because I think Old Delhi, yeah, it is a pretty far off place, and it is pretty narrow, so you might not enjoy it roaming around there. But I think if you go with a friend or two there, you can explore good places to eat at. They have really good non-vegetarian food. So that's there. But yeah, if they want to eat at a very sophisticated place or something, then there are certain cafes and restaurants which are pretty famous in Delhi. Like, for example, there is Amma Cafe in MKT. Then there are a lot of other cafes in Hudson Lane that are famous for their decor and everything. If they want to go to some place that's very bougie and fancy, then they can maybe go to Taj or Hilton or to Moras if they prefer to go to that sort of a place. So yeah, I think Delhi is a place where you find all sorts of food at all sorts of prices. It really depends upon your pocket, your mood, your company, what you like to eat, that kind of thing.
Cool. Perfect.
So that's that. Fair enough. Great. And okay, what areas would you suggest him or her to live in Delhi? I mean, no place is actually that safe, but still, what would you suggest?
I think I would certainly ask him to stay nearby Noida because you know Noida is a place wherein it's developing like anything, and you know the family can and easily adjust, and there are a lot of places. He'll have enough place. I mean to say, at a reasonable price, and he can easily accommodate because Noida is a kind of area wherein you have, if you wanted to stay somewhere in posh area, if your pocket allows, you can perhaps spend more money. Then the places are available, and if you want to explore certain cheaper places, I mean that are also there. So again, it's very planned and organized. You'll have shopping complex. You'll have everything. You don't have to go back to Delhi. Everything is available in Noida itself. So I would certainly suggest that Noida would be one of those better places. In NCR, wherein he or she can accommodate. Do you have anything else in your mind?
I think if somebody wants to like particularly live in Delhi, then I would refer to like if their pocket allows, I would refer South Delhi because again has better quality of a lot of things. So there could be a list. So I might refer them to that area again if their pocket allows, because that's a little bit of a posh area and it's pretty expensive. Land in Delhi in general is very expensive considering the way it has been planned and the scarcity of resources in Delhi now. So that's the main problem. That's why the property rates in Delhi are very, very high. So if the pocket allows, I might like want them to live there. But in case their pocket doesn't allow, they want to live at somewhere cheaper areas, then I would refer them to the West Delhi zone. The West Delhi zone is also better. Not all areas, but maybe areas like Dwarka. Like Dwarka, for example, is very well planned. so broader streets and everything. So they
So
might
don't you
enjoy living.
think because Dwarka is perhaps in a it's the almost the end of the Delhi, right? So it'll be perhaps it'll take a lot of time in order to travel because most of the places, if I talk about if he or she has to go to office, that's basically if it is in Delhi, then it'll be in central Delhi itself. So it'll take a lot of time to travel Dwarka and then coming back. So and there is of course crowd as well. So do you think it'll be a feasible?
I mean, Dwarka is still closer than Noida to central Delhi, so that's there. So
Just because if it
it's
is in Noida, because a number of companies are there which are available in Noida. Suppose say for example, the guy who is shifting to the place and his company is located there in Noida. In that case, what I mean, would you ask to travel all the way from Dwarka to Noida? It'll be
yeah,
very
that would make sense.
time taking.
We didn't take that factor in account earlier, right? So I was just referring to areas that are good in Delhi to live at. But of course, if their work is somewhere, they should definitely find accommodation near to it. So if somebody who is already coming from an outside part, right? So they're
Mhm.
not living in Delhi anyway. Their hometown is somewhere else. So it makes sense for them to take their accommodation as close as like very close to their work, then it would be beneficial to them. But if they're already from Delhi and if they're living in Delhi, then of course they wouldn't shift just for the job. So that's a different case. But if somebody is moving out from their house from any other state and coming to Delhi, then they should take their accommodation as close as possible to their work. So, for
Correct.
example, somebody who is working in the Gurgaon area, which a lot of youngsters are, so they might want to take up accommodation in Dwarka. Uh, Beyond the sector 14
Yes.
and that kind of area because that's closer via
Correct.
metro to the Gurgaon sector. But yeah, if somebody is working in Noida, then it would make more sense if they live near Vaishali or something. So that's it. Really depends on what area they're living and where their work is. So
Okay.
that's it. Fair enough. Right. And okay, what famous places would you take him to for shopping and why?
I would like, since I stay here in Noida, so I would certainly take her or him to GIP or say Great Mall of India. So I think these are the two places wherein if you want to shop, then there are a number of brands available. You can easily go and check out. So instead of going to a crowded places, and wherein it's not necessarily that you'll find your choice. So instead of exploring all those places, I would certainly suggest to go to the malls and then explore your things. What do you think? How or what would be your suggestion?
I think it would depend on their pocket and also depend on how they want to do shopping. If they really want like specific formals or something, then mall is a great idea because you get good quality, you get good brands that you can actually wear to your corporate office. So that's there. But if somebody just wants to shop generally and they want something cheap, their pocket doesn't allow much, then I would refer them to areas like Lajpat Nagar or maybe um,
So
Sarojini for
Rosni?
women.
Hmm.
Sarojini for women particularly, men might not get a lot out of that. So for women, Sarojini can be one, Lajpat Nagar works for both. So these kind of areas, you get really cheap stuff and you can actually wear it for at least 2 to 3 seasons. So it works out. So if the pocket doesn't allow, then they can go to these areas. Apart from that, yeah, if the pocket allows, then there are n number of malls in NCR and in Delhi itself. There's Ambience Mall, there's DLF and everything. You can literally go anywhere and shop if the pocket allows that. So yeah, that's it. But yeah, for cheap shopping, there are a lot of street places that you can go to and buy your stuff, especially for like day-to-day usage. So that's hey,
Great.
then hey, okay. Which nearby places would you suggest him to go to for a weekend getaway?
We can get together.
Getaway. So as in like going out of the city just for fun for 2 days to sort of relax yourself.
Mm, certainly, I would recommend him to visit to Uttarakhand because there are a lot of places. People, I mean, people staying in Delhi or nearby, they very often visit different places, explore different places in Uttarakhand. So certainly that will be one of those places I would recommend.
Fair enough.
What do
Yeah,
you
I
think?
think. Yeah. Uttarakhand is a good place to go. I think if you want something like a proper trip sort of a thing. But if you just want to maybe relax and not do much, then I might prefer them to go to the Manesar area. Manesar has like a lot of resorts where you can just go and relax yourself for 2 days and then come back home. So if you don't want to travel that much and if you just want to relax yourself, then Manesar might be a good place. But yeah, if you want to see the hills and if you just want to get away from the temperature and the weather in Delhi, then I think Uttarakhand is better because yeah, better temperature, hilly areas, good to live in. But yeah, again depends on the person if they are into going to mountains. So that's it. By the way, what kind of a person are you? Are you a beach person or are you a mountain person?
I love mountains.
And what is
Greenery
your
all around in mountains, silence, and then if it is raining, and that's awesome. I mean, I do have visited two different places if I talk about the oceans and seas. But the more I like is mountains and the hilly areas, silence in the morning.